And so with me today is the amazing Lizzie. I was going to say Lizzie Binks. I've known Lizzie a long time. Lizzie Waley, who is the co-founder and CEO of Sundae Body. Hi, Lizzie. Welcome to the Chief Meta Chicks podcast.
Thanks, Nikki. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Me too. Obviously, we've known each other a while, but I'm very keen for our community to get to know you a bit better too. So we'd love to learn a little more about your entrepreneurial journey and the story behind your success. Can you share a bit of background about what you were doing and how you landed upon the idea for Sundae Body?
Yeah, absolutely. So my career has always been in marketing, as you know. For those that don't know, my very first job was with Nikki, and my very last job before I started Sunday was also with Nikki. So we've kind of come full circle, which is really great. But I've always had a career in marketing. I've come from brand side. And more recently, agency side. So worked for a company called Publicis, where our clients were Disney and TikTok and a whole lot of other fun clients as well, like Honda. So I was the digital director there, so led all the digital media buying strategy as well as buying as well. Did a lot of pitching, did a lot of pitching. And yeah, really loved it, to be honest, and never really thought I would leave. It was one of those jobs where yeah, I truly loved it, got a lot of job satisfaction out of it. But I sort of fell into Sunday, and it was largely driven by my co-founder and best friend. So it was a very casual dinner one night. Andrew, my co-founder, we were having dinner at his pub. He owns a number of pubs in Melbourne, and it was literally over a Parma and a red wine. And he kind of came up with the idea that, there was so much happening in other categories when it came to beauty. And he personally found that using soap was really, really boring. And we didn't quite have the solution then, but he just knew he'd done a lot of traveling and in hotels, how you have those white bar soaps and it's sort of wrapped in this plastic. And he was like, surely there's something else that's a little bit more exciting to use. And so we sort of were bubbling on this idea for a while, and it was one of those things where he really had to convince me to do something, because I didn't want to go into business with him because I loved our friendship and I knew that business and friends don't typically mix, and I didn't want to rock the boat in that aspect. And it was sort of a kind of his brainchild, and it kind of evolved over time. So I said, all right, let's do it. Let's just see what else is out there. So we got in contact with a formulator, and she basically said, look, there's shower gel, there's bar soap. You could maybe do a foam. And we didn't jump at the idea of a foam, and we were like, oh, okay, that's not really that exciting either. And then we sort of sat on it and we're like, well, fuck, why wouldn't we make it whipped cream? Like, if it's a foam, why wouldn't we make it a little bit creamier, a little bit more fun, and have it come out in a whipped cream like dispenser? So off we went, sort of developing this whipped cream fun like body wash. And COVID hit. So we were sort of forced into lockdown, and I'm a Victorian, so I know more than anyone what it's like to sort of find joy in the mundane. Suddenly we were looking forward to going on walks, cooking, gardening, like all those things that we don't really think too much about in our day-to-day routine. So that we were sort of in lockdown, we were working on this sort of fun, whipped cream body wash. And as I said, COVID really kind of inspired our purpose, in that I kind of realized in that moment that actually there are so many moments in your daily routine that could be so much more joyful, like having a shower or even moisturizing your body. And that I guess really inspired our purpose to create products that would bring joy and fun back to your daily routine. So off we went, sort of focusing on body care, developing a range of products that would inject a bit of joy into your everyday routine. So that was kind of how it all started. In terms of how I took the jump from, I guess, full-time work to Sunday, well, I kind of was forced to do it because we had pitched to Woolworths and Priceline in lockdown. And before we'd even done our production run, we'd secured 1,200 stores in ranging. And it was one of those things where I was forced to make the decision, either I continue doing, this media buying job that I absolutely love, or I take a risk and go full-time on Sunday. And so that's what I did, and I haven't looked back since.
That's amazing. And can you share with us a bit of the timeline? So it feels like an overnight success to everyone else, but those that are founders know that a business takes time to grow. And you would have had tooling and packaging and design and all of those things to manage through. Had you already created your packaging and the dispenser unit before you pitched to Woolworths and Priceline, or did you have an idea and you just kind of winged it, and then once you got the order you went full steam ahead?
No, we had a concept. So essentially it was 18 months in the making, and it was 18 months of finalizing fragrances, packaging. We had to purchase a tooling machine to actually make our whipped cream caps.
Yeah.
So I genuinely thought you could just purchase that off the shelf. It's very naive of me, but we had to get a tool made,
Yeah.
and then ship it to a plastic molder who then sort of makes the caps. So that was all very, very time consuming. When we'd pitched to Woolworths, we had the concept. I had a white can and I had a 3D print of the cap. So I didn't even have the final cap. And so basically I was selling a concept, which we did. Designers are amazing, and we wouldn't have been able to do it without their amazing Photoshop skills to sort of Photoshop the artwork onto what the can would look like, so that they had a visual of the branding and the product. But effectively what we sent them in terms of samples was a plain white can with our formula inside and a 3D print of the cap. So it was very conceptual at that point.
But
so
it
certainly,
worked. It still distributed it. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I feel like why it worked is because there just wasn't anything like it. And it was enough to, I guess, give them the idea of the experience of taking that whipped cream cap off, shaking the bottle, turning it upside down, dispensing the foam. So, it certainly wasn't an overnight success, and it was a bit rough and raw at the start. But the thing with our product is it has really high MOQs, or minimum order quantities. So we actually didn't get a printed sample until the production run, which was 10,000 units. So it
Wow.
was a big, big gamble. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And obviously the startup funding to, produce 10,000 units, that's a bit scary. Did you, obviously your co-founder is, managing multiple businesses at the moment.
Mhm.
Did he step up the money, or did you contribute in? How did you manage that, and how did you put security around your financial situation? Because that's one of the biggest challenges for founders.
Yeah, and I'm very risk adverse, especially I've always been used to a salary, and I love my salary. I get my monthly paycheck. It's very secure. So basically, there were a few ways we did it. So the way that we sort of mitigated risk, it was actually 40,000 units, because we launched with 4 SKUs. So it was
Wow.
10,000 times 4. So the way that we did it was we pitched to a distributor first, and the distributor then put us forward to Priceline and Woolworths. So why I absolutely love a distributor model is because they buy the stock off you. And
Right.
so that helps mitigate risk as well. So basically, we managed to negotiate the same payment terms with our manufacturer as our distributor. So effectively, what would happen is money would come in on 30 days end of month, and then from our distributor for the order, and then money would go out that same day to our manufacturer to pay for the run. So that's how
Awesome.
I guess, it helped with that big amount of cash. In terms of that startup capital, very, very lucky that my co-founder had those funds to put forward to sort of back us. But in terms of those big production runs, certainly negotiating the same payment terms as your supplier and your customer definitely helps.
Yeah, right. And I remember you had an amazing launch. So you would have really invested in hitting the market with a bang, having influencers on board, getting that sort of social user generated content. Can you talk us through a bit more of the branding and the preparation for that event and your marketing strategy?
Yeah, so our marketing strategy was an interesting one, because there was a really big education piece that we had to do right at the start. We're asking people to change their behavior in terms of how they consume a body wash. It's not a pump bottle, it's not a bar soap, it's literally shaking a bottle or a can, tipping it upside down, dispensing. And not only that, is you sort of have to step out from under the water, because it's already a lathered foam. Naturally, foam runs off the body when it comes into contact with water very quickly. So it's stepping out from under the water, lathering it, getting clean, and then stepping back in. So it sounds simple, but it actually was quite challenging at the start to, get people to change their behavior and use the product. So certainly at the start, we did a big educational piece on how to use it. And then from there, we could sort of build the brand. And what we did to build the brand was, it's a very experience-based product. So we did a lot of experiential things like activations, did a lot of product trialing. Whenever you're asking someone to use something that they're not particularly used to or might be at a higher price point, we've sort of found the best way was to just get people to try it. If they like it, then they'll buy it. So we did a lot of gifting, a lot of giveaways, a lot of gifting. And then certainly at the start, we really focused on brand partnerships as well, as that was quite a cost efficient way to, raise brand awareness about our brand amongst sort of like-minded brands. So we did a lot of giveaways, a lot of gift with purchases on our website. So we try sort of product swap with other brands. So we'd say, all right, you give us 500 units of your hair mask and we'll give you 500 Sundays. And then what we'd do is we'd run a promotion on our website and say, if you spend $30, you get a free hair mask, and just trying to cross-pollinate our communities. So we did a lot of that at the start. There wasn't a whole lot of investment in paid media or paid opportunities at that point for a couple of reasons. We needed to build trust. We needed to, establish a community and really get that right. And then it was probably 8 months actually after we started. That's when we started investing in paid media, which, coming from a paid media background, was a very different experience, but it was really good because it allowed us to scale as much as we wanted to, but also get the community side of things right in terms of our customer service. And then once we sort of felt that, we were ready to grow, we invested in paid media, and that was able to really scale the business.
Yeah. And what sort of channels in paid media are you focused on?
Yeah, so we do Facebook, Instagram, well, now Meta, Google, of course, and we've found that that's a really great lower funnel, tactic to, we can bid on keywords like body wash, and it's really funny, the evolution of our Google strategy, because at the start it very much was bidding on body wash and vanilla shower gel, and now we've been able to, really hone in on shower foam, because we've helped, establish the awareness around shower foam and shower mousses. So that's been a really fun evolution as well. We do affiliate marketing, quite a lot of affiliate marketing. And then, of course, influencers is another paid channel that we invest in.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I think your background in digital media has certainly helped. I remember when I first met you and, plucked you out of you'd finished a PR degree, plucked you out of a call center, brought you into an internship and went, I think she's going to launch our social media strategy. And, you're in superannuation, and I thought, I need you in an agency environment. You need to learn more. And I could just see that that was the right place for you. And then, when I jumped ship to agency, I had the opportunity to bring you with me. And I feel like, that's given you such an amazing grounding and background and understanding. And because you've been on the tools and you know how to do the doing, it's really set you up, for this role, which is super exciting and very rewarding, I have to say.
Yeah, I know. It's been a really nice, I've been really lucky in my career. Even people laugh when I say that I started my career at a call center, but I could not be more grateful for that time, because that's really helped me, establish a really robust customer service process for Sundae. And I have very high expectations when it comes to our customer service. So very strong SLAs. We've got a 24-hour turnaround on absolutely all customer queries. We have, we sort of check it multiple times throughout the day. And I guess that's really helped establish our community as well. And we often get emails saying, "I'd love your customer service." And I'm like, "Thank you, Australian Super, for that experience." And then I kind of went to a more brand role, and then obviously ended up in agency. So I've had a really good, breadth of career that's really helped, form all the little parts of Sundae that it is today.
Yeah, it's so good. And talk to me about, obviously, customer service is a key point. Have you got any data around customer loyalty and how big is your community now? How regularly are people purchasing your products? Because what I can see from the outside when I go into the supermarket, people are hovering around and talking about it And I love that. Like there's just a little bit of pride in me going, go Lizzie.
It's been really great. I think for us, we have a really high customer return rate. So 60, certainly it's really easy to measure on our e-com store because we've got those analytics. But whenever we launch a campaign, about 62% of those customers are return customers. So if it's an offer, if it's a gift with purchase, a new product, a really large portion of them are actually returning customers. So that's been really great because it means that we've been able to not only just build trust but build loyalty with our customer. And yeah, that's sort of the online side of things. In terms of the, I guess, supermarkets or the retail side of things, that's a little harder to measure, but we can sort of anecdotally look at it from when we go on promotion. So we do great sales week to week, but when we go on promo, it flies off the shelf. So I think that's representative of people, repurchasing on when it's on promo. So yeah, that's been a really key part is, I think it's quite easy to acquire customers. People are happy to try new products, but it's even harder to keep those customers. And that's certainly been a focus for us.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so I've just gone totally off all my questions because I just find you so interesting. So I'm going to hit you with some questions that I probably gave you to prepare. We've covered that. So were there times where you thought, what the hell am I doing? And were ready to throw the towel in?
Always, what the hell am I doing? But never ready to throw the towel in. I feel like I really love what I do and there's always a solution. And even when it feels like the biggest problem, I think this business has taught me to be really, really resilient. And certainly if I look at my attitude at the start of this business, my attitude now at the start, the slightest thing would happen, I'd be like, oh my goodness, the world is ending. I've failed. What have I done? So, but now I guess, as a business owner, you're thrown issues every day. And I guess you just sort of become a little bit immune to it. So certainly over time, my attitude towards, I guess, that whole, what the hell am I doing has definitely grown more resilient. But I feel like that's part and parcel with business. And I think that's one of the great things about running a business. It does build your resilience. And I think when you sort of 1 to 2 years in, you're like, okay, what else have you got to throw at me? I can sort of handle it. We've had challenges from cash flow to products not being produced on time and missing on shelf dates. And, there's always a solution, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the more positive way to look at it. Although at the time, I can't say that I've always been this positive.
Yeah. And how many staff are you up to at the moment?
We're a very lean team, so lean but mighty. So there's myself, and then we've got 3 others. So there's a team of 4 effectively, but we use contractors a lot, like designers, photographers, videographers, and we sort of lean on, I guess I'd like to call them subject matter experts. And I think that's how I like to I guess keep the team. I like to keep the team in. We're mostly marketing. We've got an operations manager, but I feel like as someone that's come from a big company, I like to keep people that I can personally grow and teach them things. Whereas if I can't, I don't know who, like, I feel like a lot of job satisfaction comes from learning from your leaders and being able to grow in that role. So I really like to keep the core marketing function in-house. And then, we use a lot of contractors along the way as well.
Yeah, amazing. And are you working remotely? Is that your model?
No, we have an office, but we of course are hybrid. So we 3 days in the office and then 2 days from home.
Nice. Very good. Keen to know, in those moments of challenge and hell and what the hell am I doing, where did you go for support?
Yeah. It's like
Mum?
crazy. Yeah, it takes a village, Nikki. I feel like there's so many people. I like at home, certainly Sam, my husband, he's been a great emotional support, but really largely I lean on my team, and I feel like I couldn't do it without them. And we've employed some really fantastic people, and I really heavily rely on them. But then there's also mentors like you, Nikki, that I always go to and come back to. So as I said, it takes a village. There's a lot of people that I, get support from in different ways. I think that, that's that's the best way to go about it. I can't imagine leaning so heavily on Sam. He would be so weighed down with all my problems.
That's great. Well, I mean, I think that's one of the biggest challenges for people starting their own businesses. You're going it alone, and that opportunity to collaborate and connect and, shoot the breeze with people and problem solve and build on ideas. You get that in a big team environment in a corporate, but it's tougher in when you're going it alone. And so, one of the whole reasons why we've set up Chief Meta Chicks is to provide that community support for each other. And Lizzie is one of our amazing Chief Meta Chicks leaders. So she is providing that support for our Pitch and Grow members as well, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think things like, there are a few, especially when you're a female founder, it does get quite isolating. And certainly, to your point before about, do you have those, what the hell am I doing moments? Yeah, there's plenty. So I think being part of a community where you can sort of get support, and it might not be a support in the exact field that you're in, but emotional support goes a long way as well. So yeah, certainly communities like Chief Meta Chicks is an absolute support beam for myself.
Yeah. And just on being a female founder, have you found that to be an advantage or a disadvantage for you in business?
It mostly an advantage, to be honest. And I think I've been very lucky, but it really also depends who I'm dealing with. I have had moments where I have had to call in like my co-founder, Andrew, being a male, to have conversations that I'm just not getting anywhere with, which is a little frustrating, but I'm lucky that I've got him there to do that with. So yeah, for the most part, it's an advantage, but certainly you do have some pretty old school people in, I guess, a business like myself, a consumer product business that they prefer to speak to a man. And so we've had instances where that has happened, but it's just like, it's water off a duck's back. It doesn't really matter as long as the outcome that I need is there. I don't really mind. But yeah, for the most part, I've been in marketing my whole life, and I feel like that's a very female dominated industry. So very, very lucky to have had that support along the way.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting point. Marketing is sometimes overlooked or underrated. And the reality is, when you're founding a new business or building a new product or service, if people don't know about you, you don't have a business. And so I think that's where those marketing skills come to the fore in this founder space. And certainly what I'm seeing with a lot of our members coming through our Pitch and Grow program, those that don't have marketing skills are really looking for that support. They might have a great product or an idea, they might be super smart, but if they haven't had a marketing background, sometimes they don't know where to start. And I definitely think that's a huge advantage. And you can just see it in the power of your brand. It's pretty amazing.
I think one of the key things that I've learned in this whole process is, I've always known, being in marketing, you always know the importance of a brand, of branding and a brand. But I think we've been really clear on our purpose from the start, and that was to ignite joy and to ignite joy in everyday moments. And everything, absolutely everything we do comes back to that, from our packaging to our formulas to our fragrances, how we present on shelf, all of that sort of ties back to that. And I think that can often get overlooked, but that is so important, because it is effectively how customers connect with you. If you don't have a clear purpose, they don't really know what you're about. And that's really what's going to drive your customer base.
Yeah, and it's your why. It's
Exactly.
The old Simon Sinek golden circle. Start with why to bring joy. If we're bringing joy, then people want your product
Exactly.
or your service. So yeah, love it. Can you share with us some other challenges that you might have faced along the way? You've talked about sometimes having to bring your co-founder in, but have there been any other major challenges, and how did you overcome them?
I think a major challenge for me was probably just me getting in my own way. And I think, that I'm a perfectionist, and you just cannot be a perfectionist being a business owner. And I tried so hard. I think for like a year, I tried to do everything absolutely perfectly, but I got nowhere because I was spending so much time on detail and process and just trying to perfect everything. And I think I've learned this saying along the way, and it was progress over perfection. And I think that has been, sort of the number one thing that I've learned. You're across, as a business owner, you're across so many facets of the business that you kind of feel like what is it called? A jack of all trades, master of none. And that's exactly how I feel. And for a while, I was really struggling with that because I really wanted to be a master of everything and get everything perfect. And it's my business. But I think that's been the number one learning, is that, it is more important to move forward and sort of fuck up or make a mistake along the way, and rather than trying to perfect it and not move forward at all. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's been a challenge, but also a learning.
Yeah, brilliant. Love it. And keen to know how much your business has pivoted and evolved along the journey from, the first iteration, the first idea. Obviously, as a business owner, you've got to be pretty agile and move where the market is. And I've certainly noticed that myself in running Chief Metachicks. Keen for you to share how that's pivoted and changed for you.
Absolutely. So you look at the start, it was really body wash focused. We really just wanted to reinvigorate the body wash category. We wanted to do something different, inject a bit of fun and color. As you sort of walk down Woolworths, you sort of see a sea. Well, it's evolving now. It's definitely gotten a lot better, but previously it was a sea of, neutral and black bottles. And I think we just wanted to just bring a bit of fun, and we really focused on body wash. And I remember at the time I was like, this feels a little bit novel, and I feel like it's going to be a bit of a fleeting, novelty. And I was really struggling to see how we could build that out. And I think COVID really, really inspired our purpose in terms of, why are we building this? Why are we making this fun body wash? Well, if you have to shower every day, you should enjoy it. Why wouldn't you make something that's enjoyable to use? You have, masks for your boobs, your butt, everything these days, but there was nothing happening in body wash. And so when COVID hit, and I guess we identified so many moments in our daily routine that could be more enjoyable, I think that really made us pivot and sort of look at the broader range. There's so many moments beyond just showering that could be more enjoyable. It could be moisturizing, applying sunscreen. It could be anything as part of your sort of self-care everyday routine. So I think that's probably the best example of how we've pivoted. And it was very much influenced by COVID and that realization of, why are we doing this? Okay, it's that sort of everyday moment that could be elevated, could be a lot more enjoyable.
When did your products first hit the shelf? What was the date?
March 2021.
Right. So in the
Yeah.
midst of COVID lockdowns, how
Yes.
did you get product here where, the whole sort of importing was so challenged? How did that come about?
Yeah, so we are Australian made. All of our raw
Ah,
materials are from Australia. So
awesome.
that was a byproduct of COVID, but also was great for us because, having things imported from offshore, it's lead times, it's very time consuming. So we were during that COVID period forced to look within Australia, which is great, and that's something we're very, very proud of, being Australian made. But that's effectively how we were able to run a production and get on shelf in time for March 21. So I think we'd just gotten out of lockdown in February or something like that. Like, it was very tight.
Yeah, wow. Amazing.
Mm.
And I mean, your price point is not cheap.
Yeah.
Is it 19.95? Is that?
It's $20. Yeah,
Yeah.
20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And obviously, if you're manufacturing, producing Australian made, that's going to increase the cost. If you were manufacturing overseas, you would potentially find efficiencies with that. Are you nervous about someone copying what you're doing and importing from overseas?
Yeah, so that was probably one of our biggest challenges when we were starting this business, because it was the cost. The cost to produce our product is not cheap, and it had to be, by the time the retailer takes their margin, which is about 50-55%, it had to be $20. Of course, we wanted it to be a little bit cheaper. I think the average price of a body wash is $6.41, and
Yeah.
ours was coming in at 20. So we tried really, really hard to cost engineer it, but we just couldn't make it work, especially if we wanted to be on shelf. We definitely could make it cheaper if we just sold online and didn't have to pay retailer margins, but $20 was the absolute minimum of the cost it was going to be, and that was definitely a challenge for us. So yeah, I think in terms of competitors coming in, I think that just comes back to us focusing on brand, and why
Yeah.
it's so important to build a strong brand that customers connect to, because we have had copycats actually, and that it sort of happened in the last few months. And we're pretty unaffected by it, to be honest, because we've worked so hard on building a really enjoyable experience end to end, from when you pick it up off the shelf and you're sort of like, what is this whipped cream looking can doing in the body wash aisle, to when you take it home, you're proud to have it in your shower. It's enjoyable to use. And I think every touch point we've really focused on, bringing joy. And I think that's something that other companies can't do.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I mean, I follow you on all the socials, and I love some of your TikToks. And one of my favorites, which I show people all the time because it's just so innovative and fun. And it's that shareable content that people just keep coming back to see more around what you're doing. But one of my favorites was when you were walking like a model, just in, like skimpy white underwear, and they painted with the whipped cream a dress on you. And it was just so fun and so original and so clever. I just thought, oh, amazing. And you know what? I mean, my two teenage boys, they were like, oh, yeah, we've seen Lizzie. Oh, yeah, check this one out. And they showed me that too. And I thought, my God, here's two teenage boys, 16 and 18, following Lizzie, following Sundae Body, and really enjoying the content and, sharing it, and also, being super proud that they know you.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And I think, one thing that I've learned, another thing that I've learned about business is it's quite easy to start. If you're motivated, it's pretty easy to start, but it's bloody hard to stay relevant. And we've found that content really, TikTok in particular, has really helped us do that, because there really are only a few ways to stay relevant. It's newness, so launching new products, which is expensive to do, and also to be innovating all the time and launching new products. It's just, you can't be doing that every, month or whatever it might be. So we've found content has really helped fill the gap in between our new product launches to help us stay relevant, but also tell our brand personality. That video that you're talking about was, we kind of newsjacked the Bella Hadid sort of, I can't remember what it was, but it was where they spray painted the dress onto her. And so we were like, let's do it with the foam. And of course I was like, I'll be the person that does it. And you should have seen the other officers sort of walking past going, what is going on in there? But we got over 1 million views. So yeah, the power of content and newsjacking, I guess, is something to be told.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was so clever. I just loved it. And like I said, to this day, I show people that as an example of how to build and create great content. Can you give us, can you share your business journey and growth from launching to Australia to global expansion? You're now in overseas markets. I know you've just got back from New York. How did all that come about? I mean, this is huge growth really quickly, very early days.
Thank you. So we have a really strong wholesale B2B strategy, and I think it's about 70% of our business. And our mission and vision is to be the most loved and frequently used body care brand, and to do that we need to be in as many stores and be as accessible as possible. So we launched into 1,200 stores across Woolworths and Priceline, and that was straight off the bat, and that was amazing.
That's insane.
That was a great marketing vehicle in itself. Like people go down the health and beauty aisle twice a week on their average shop, and hundreds of thousands walk through the stores every day. So that was incredible for us. We then struck a deal with Coles for our kids range. So now we're in over 2,000 doors in Australia alone. So we're really happy with our distribution in Australia. And sort of towards the middle of last year, we started to get contacted by Urban Outfitters, Cult Beauty, ASOS, a few other UK retailers and e-tailers. And it was quite reactive. So we were just really concentrating on Australia, but it was one of those things where we kept getting, it was actually through Instagram, like DMs from buyers.
Love it.
Yeah, discovering us on Instagram. And so we were like, okay, well, let's just see where this can go and explore that. So then next thing you know, we've launched in the UK. And then we were like, okay, we're definitely just going to focus on Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. And then towards the end of last year, start of this year, we started to be contacted by buyers in the US. And we were like, oh gosh, no, we couldn't, we couldn't. And then it plants a little seed in your mind and you're like, oh, but what if? So we just thought, look, we'll go to New York, we'll exhibit at a retail trade show and just see what the sentiment is and whether people love the brand, people love the product, people love the price point. That's a really important factor, and see if we can sort of generate some interest, which we did, which was amazing. So we're really focused on launching in the US, which will probably happen by February next year. So it's all happened organically. It's been, to be honest, like it's not been a strategic move by any stretch. It's very reactive. But it's I guess it's testament to the brand and how well we're doing in terms of brand awareness and people discovering us, in other countries, which is something that I never would have imagined.
and right back to your social media background and your social strategy and your content. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So clever.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Keen for you to share, this is one of my favorite questions. What didn't you know that you didn't know, and how did you learn on the fly and plug those gaps?
Yeah. Well, other than marketing and how to build a brand, I didn't know a lot. And there's so much more to this business. So there's the new product development. So I had to learn a lot about formulations. I had to learn a lot about packaging, and then also obviously making sure that we're compliant and all those things. So there's that new product development side of things. There's operations, so actually moving our product around. Our product can only go by road and by sea, so we can't air freight. So there was all that, operations, also stock forecasting, all of that. And then finance was a big one. And I think, Nikki, I'm not a maths person and I do not have a finance brain whatsoever. So that was like 3 areas of the business that I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I think in terms of learning on the fly, it was making a lot of mistakes, but also making sure that I'm surrounded by people who do know what they're doing. So it kind of comes back to the contractors and eventually being able to be lucky enough to hire people that actually know what they're doing in those areas, and surrounding myself with people that do, and just trying to learn along the way. But yeah, there was a lot of learning, but there was also just a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, but that's how we learn, hey?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Good. Love it. I think we probably covered this, but if there's anything else you want to add to it, what do you think has been the key to your success, and what had you learned in your career prior that really set you up for success?
I think it's just basically the coming back to really building a strong brand and having a clear purpose. And I think that's really what's driven our success, because it's effectively what customers are able to connect with. They know what we're about. But sort of once you do that, I think consistency is also really important, making sure that your socials and your website, your content, the whole experience aligns with what your purpose and what your brand is. And I think, that really has set us up for success.
Brilliant. Love it. What excites you the most about your journey?
I think, to be honest, the export side of things, and I think that comes back to, what we're trying to achieve, and we really just want as many people everywhere, loving and trying our products. So I think to have that opportunity to have, international growth is really, really exciting, daunting, but I feel like the most things that are daunting are the most exciting things as well. So definitely the export, the US market is very, very exciting to me, but also very, very scary, but a good indicator that it's something that I'm super passionate about.
Yeah, I tell you, just from watching from the outside, I'm just excited to watch your journey and to see how this is just taken off. It's just amazing. It's such a credit to you. Love it. So if you knew what you do now, would you do it all again? Obviously,
Absolutely.
It's a hell of a lot of work. Yep.
Yeah.
No question.
Absolutely. No regrets whatsoever. Yeah. I think it's I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason, and even on the shit days where I'm like, oh my God, why did I do this? I still wake up in the morning and genuinely excited to run this business. So yes, I would hands down 100% do it again.
Brilliant. Love it. And what advice do you have for aspiring women entrepreneurs who are just starting their journey?
I think I've banged on about purpose quite a lot, but I think it's quite important personally to be really clear on what your purpose is, because I guess your why has to be strong enough to sustain you for what is like a really bumpy, wild ride of ups and downs when you're running a business. But it also gives you, I guess, a sense of purpose, even when you're doing the most mundane things like packing boxes or data entry, or for me, finance. So, I think I think the same applies to your brand, coming from a place of purpose, I guess. allows you to connect with your customers and guides all your decision making. But I probably would say the advice is to really nail your why, both personally, but also for your brand.
Yeah, love it. And so what's next for you? What's world domination look like for Lizzie Waley?
Yeah, I think for us, we're really focused on export, so in the US, and I think that's kind of on the horizon for us, but also bringing out new products and really expanding our range and diving truly into the world of body care, because for now we've really nailed the shower and the body wash, I guess, offering. So for us now, it's really breaking into moisturizers and other body care products that we're working on, and then of course bringing that internationally.
Love it, love it, love it. And my final closing question for you, Lizzie, what made you keen to be a Chief Medichick leader, and what are you enjoying the most about it?
I think I touched on it earlier, and as I said, like it certainly can be quite isolating, and it can be quite a humbling and lonely experience at times being a business owner. So I think for me, I've always had a desire to help others and be part of a community, and I think that's my favorite thing about Chief Medichicks is not only being part of the community myself and having other Chief Medichicks to talk to and be part of and just have this sense of community and belonging, but also helping others. And I know that, as I said, there was a lot I didn't know when I started this business. And if I can impart any of that knowledge on anyone else that's in that same position, that makes me feel quite fulfilled. So yeah, certainly being part of a community is what made me want to be a Chief Medichick leader, which I'm absolutely loving.
Awesome. Well, we're loving having you on board, and you're adding huge value to the people that you're coaching. And we're very close to going live with Chief Medichick's World. So our community can check out the profiles of the leaders who have wings on their profiles, and you can actually chat live in the 3D environment. So pretty excited. We're only a couple of weeks away, and it's all on me to get the content loaded up. And yes, hence the delay, but we will get there. But look, Lizzie, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure hearing more about your journey and sharing your story with our community. We look forward to seeing you in Chief Medichick's land and on the next couple of pitch and grow pitches that we've got coming up. And yeah, just love your journey, and we'll continue to watch in awe and wonder.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Pleasure.